Hello. Should be live.
Teka, share pa natin. Share
sige. Yeah,
share natin share.
Yeah.
Sa madlang peeps yung feed natin.
Exactly. Hey, Bruce, what's up?
What's up, Bruce?
Yun.
First, as
What's
always,
up, Bruce Lim?
usual spot. Naisip ko lang, it would be really funny if we asked each other for good by asking, I'm in the mood, but baby, are we good? And if you get that commercial reference, then you know what was up in the 2010s or the late 2000s, actually.
I need to search about that to get.
Di mo alam yun? The premier condoms commercial that used to air on Jack TV.
I know. No. Wala pa akong cable by that time. So. Hey, what's up?
What's good, Glendale? It has also been a loaded week.
Yes, definitely loaded week for parang 3 weeks na akong busy sa totoo lang. Nakakapagod siya. I'm so tired.
I am just tired from being an adult, man. I thought
same.
moving out would be fun. It is, but it's also more work than I expected. So there's that.
I'm tired from doing errands for different things, comedy, podcasting, you name it. That the past 3 weeks, exhausting.
Well, on the bright side, Chino, you are not Bamban Mayor Alice Go, who has to be asked questions about her life that she can't remember.
Hindi ako graduate sa Rubelin University. PhD papers.
Glendale, alam mo ba yung mga sinusulat mo?
Glendale, ano masasabi mo kay Mayor Alice Go? Bilang professor.
Bilang professor, bilang fellow Chinese, 'di ba? Bilang Chinoy.
Bilang fellow Chinese, bilang professor.
You know what, Bruce? I also the same. Kala ko yung mga condoms dati, kala ko candy when I was a kid.
Pwede mo naman lagay sa bibig mo, di ba?
No.
Oh, masarap naman para sa mga sumusubo.
May flavor. That's why they have flavors, Emil, you know?
Yeah. But again,
yeah.
my innocent inner child thought otherwise. So.
Ulul, di ka innocent.
I was a kid.
Yeah, honestly, when I first saw Alice Go, the mayor, kala ko siya si Shansai. Because the resemblance is real.
Yep.
Dapat
kaya sabi ni Glendale, hanapin na lang niya si Dao Mingsi.
Ina, what's up?
Hello, Ina. Hello, Iger.
Hello, Iger.
Iger, what's up?
Good, man?
Iger pala, sorry. Yes, congrats to NU.
Yeah. Last week, di ba, Ina, you asked us kung sino yung bet namin. I said NU. Thank God.
I would have said UST. So I would have been...
Yeah. But di ba, tinalo ng NU yung best team in the elimination. So, coming into the finals, diba? It's destined. So, tama yung hula ko. Oh yes, Glendale, that's actually the cyber collaboration between is it Noah primarily or di ko pa nababasa kasi but nakita ko lang yung picture. Yeah, it's 10 seconds. Let's go.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Adam
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening.
And you are listening.
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
to the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You are now
Hey.
listening and watching the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Chino Liao and Emil Nate and Stancy will be joining us in a quick second or two. Joining you on this Thursday night, this very humid Thursday night. Diba, Emil? Is it humid where you're at right now?
Yes, it is. Kung sa Metro Manila, umuulan na. Dito sa parte ng Laguna, hindi pa rin umuulan till now. Papatak-patak lang,
wow.
pero it's not yung buhos like what we're getting in Metro Manila in the last
Honestly,
week or so.
yung ulan namin din dito malakas pa yung ihi ko minsan eh. Totoo lang. It's not enough, man. It's just way too hot to be sustained.
Gusto ko yung
by it.
nawala lang ako. We're now talking about Chino's piss. What the hell happened?
That's what happens. I don't know what to tell you. It's a natural
That
transition.
just went out the window. Jeez. All right, you guys started the show, right? Because like I got
Yes,
eaten
yeah.
out right as the OBB ended.
Yes,
All
we're
right.
talking about the
Cool.
weather. We're talking about the weather and how hot it is and rain and all that.
And your piss clearly.
And my pace, comparing it to the rain.
Mm.
That's the context. Yes.
That much is clear from when I popped in.
Okay.
All right. Sure. All right. We're going to start things off by letting you know we actually have a viewing party for King and Queen of the Ring that is happening at Hobby Stadium. So our good friends over there have linked up with us. And we are running this viewing party on May 26th. That's a Sunday. And the main show starts at 1 a.m. So walang tulugan, Master Showman. Basically until Money in the Bank. So 1 a.m. ang start time natin for Backlash and then King and Queen of the Ring and Clash at the Castle Scotland. Lahat yan. All right. So May 26, 1 a.m. Doors open at the stroke of midnight sa Hobby Stadium. Wala tayong pre-register or early bird tickets. So you just come in, you pay walk-in tickets at 350 pesos. They come with a free iced tea. And Glendale was saying that it's a loaded weekend. You're damn right it's a loaded weekend because you've got the DexCon meet and greet where you can say hi to Zack Sabre Jr. on Saturday. And then if you want to take a nap or go home or as Chino likes to do, talk about his piss, you can do that and then head on over to Hobby Stadium right afterward, enjoy your viewing party, and then go home and sleep and dream about piss and then come right back for more wrestling when DexCon happens on Sunday night. And then you get
Parang
double or
masyado ka
nothing on Monday. Thank you, friends.
Parang nag-deal, masyado ka nag-lean into the piss part, but okay. But yes, a lot of wrestling happening over the weekend. So sana supportan yung mga viewing parties and meet and greets that will happen.
Oh, sobrang dami ganap, I swear. So if you don't get out wrestling by your wrestling fandom on by the end of that weekend, God bless you. Kasi sobrang dami ganap talaga. May the wrestling gods bless us all. All right, let's talk about Patreon, where ang dami na namang ganap as usual. Emil, let the people know what they can get if they are part of our Patreon program.
All right, so if you're part of our Patreon program, you're supporting everything that we do here. The link is right there below. Yan, sa ating ticker, patreon.com/wrestling podcast. There's those $5 to 250 to 260 pesos in our local currency. You get benefits, of course. One of those is the Discord server where you can interact with us, talk to us about anything. And we also hold some viewing parties in there once in a while. Probably double or nothing next week. But we'll probably have a virtual watch party over there on our Discord server. Also, you got the review content of the weekly wrestling shows, courtesy of us, almost all of us at this point. Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite. Collision, Rampage, Impact. So lahat na yun. Also, the Pasabays, the last one just concluded. So if you want to join in on the next one and want to get some preferential rates on the service fees, so you can subscribe. And again, by subbing or subscribing, you're supporting everything that we do here in the pod. Again, going strong for 10 years. Right here, right there's the link, patreon.com/wrestling podcast.
All right. Maraming salamat, Emil. Clearly, Rose not here, so we're going to have some happy stand noises as we tell you about Blast TV. All right. So WWE on Blast TV, the legit way to go if you want to catch your weekly television shows from the WWE, mula Raw to NXT to SmackDown live and on demand. San ka pa? And you can get it for free if you are a Converge or a Globe at Home subscriber, which I am. I'm a happy Converge subscriber. I do get to watch Raw, SmackDown, and NXT live while I'm doing chores like a proper ass adult. And if I do miss a certain segment, ginagawa ko siyang parang movie. And I pick up right there sa live part, and then I start all over on demand when that stuff's available as early as 2 or 3 p.m. I swear, that's one of the best things about the Blast TV deal. The fact that it's already available on demand by the time I'm ready for my afternoon nap, all right? If you're not a Converge or Globe at Home subscriber, I believe the subscription fee is at a low, low price of 169 or 189 pesos between those amounts. So WWE on Blast TV. Ito pa, pampabuenas for those who love your sitcoms. If you are a fan of The Office and The Good Place like I am, it's a good forking deal to get yourself to Dunder Mifflin and to the good old days of both sitcoms, whether it's The Good Place or The Bad Place or what a lot of people would call purgatory, yung mga Dunder Mifflins in their lives. Then go ahead and catch those series on Blast TV. All right?
Ako din
So there.
like sobrang daming bagong content ngayon sa Blast TV. So kahit hindi kayo WWE fan, you can check out Blast TV again. Blast TV na rin because yesterday I was before I was watching NXT, nakita ko yung A Walk to Remember, which is one of my favorite chick flicks of all time. So I watched it from the beginning to the end before watching some wrestling and talagang sulit. So go check out Blast TV. It's free for Converge and Globe users.
Did you cry again when you found out Jamie was gonna die?
Every time. Every time I watch that movie. Sobra.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad to know that for one of us, it's still real, you know. Shane West and Mandy Moore 5 ever, or whatever it was we said back in 2004. God, that movie's 20 years old. Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, nakakagulat din.
All right, let's talk about some wrestling. We're gonna start with Monday Night Raw, where nakita natin na, babyface na si Damian Priest. Maybe not fully, maybe not 100%, but the face turn has begun. And we clearly saw it nung nakatapat niya si Drew McIntyre on the mic. McIntyre still railing against CM Punk and blaming him for all of the misfortunes in his life. And Damian Priest was like, kung meron kang problema, you go look at the mirror and blame the a-hole that's staring right back at you, which was as babyface as Damian Priest can get in this iteration of his character. So, Chino, what do you think about this development for the World Heavyweight Champion?
I think it's good that they juxtaposed his character alongside Drew McIntyre, because as heelish as both of them may appear to be, si Drew talaga, current Drew, is so unlikable now. And I think that's the point, diba? Because he's a hypocrite, because he likes to blame other people for his mistakes, all the reasons mentioned by Priest in his promo. So, ang ganda din na they were able to capitalize on that and say na, teka lang, kahit heel ako and heel yung stable ko, mas kupal ka pa rin, Drew McIntyre. Diba? So I totally get why they had to do that, because if they were both heels, then who would we cheer for? Diba? That WWE doesn't really like to play that heel versus heel aesthetic as much as the other companies do. So in this regard, storytelling wise, I think panalo tayo dito.
Ako din naman since Cody went to SmackDown and Seth took a break, medyo may may blank spot doon for the top babyface on the Raw side. And as much as Jey Uso is over, is one of the most popular guys on the roster. I just can't see him as that guy. So Damian Priest, I think, bagay siya dun eh. And they've been planting seeds of Damian Priest turning face ever since he won the title. Diba? Nakita natin yung backlash where he doesn't want Judgment Day to interfere in his match. That's kind of a baby face move on his part. So kahit at the end, nagkasundo pa din sila. But in a way, you could see na they're teasing they're teasing the fact that we're turning this guy into a babyface.
Maganda tong nilagay ni Dr. G na Damian Priest was seen yeeting with Jey Uso at a WWE live event. And as we all know, itong mga live events or the house shows, as we call them in the industry, ito yung parang petri dish, diba? Or petri dish where they do their experiments, they look at potential matchups that they could bring to TV, or they check to see kung meron mang chemistry itong si wrestler A and wrestler B. So, Damian yeeting with Jey Uso is a pretty good sign that Damian Priest is turning back into a babyface.
Tsaka interesting din to kasi while Damian Priest is a face now, Judgment Day is still very much heels. So, parang nagdo-double down pa rin sila sa potential breakup, I think. Because everybody, their motives are now crisscrossed, diba? Parang wala silang delineation. I want to see this confrontation happen wherein they sit Priest down, or Finn and JD and Dom huddle up with Priest and say, teka lang, anong ginagawa natin? Where's this going, di ba? Wala lang si Rhea Ripley, nagkakagulo na tayo. So I think that's also awesome on their end, storytelling-wise.
Yeah, ano naman talaga, I think they're just really delaying the inevitable, which is the Judgment Day turning on Damian Priest and kicking him out of the group, right? So I think doon naman talaga patungo siya, it's just taking the long roundabout way of getting there. Let's say hi to It's a Boy. Hindi siya plural so it's not the New Day, diba? Because if it's a boy, it's the New Day.
New Day.
It's a boy.
Pero singular siya so it's a boy siya lang.
Yeah.
Right.
What's up?
Yeah, sorry. Okay, let's move on. Let's pick up and talk about Ilya Dragunov and Jey Uso, who had a pretty good match on Monday Night Raw as part of the second round of the King of the Ring tournament. And I guess we're not getting an undefeated streak for Ilya here on the main roster, with Jey Uso being the first superstar to pin the Tsar on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, this is going to be my pick for next week. Very hard-hitting match, as always, coming from Ilya Dragunov. But also very surprising na natalo siya. I would have thought they would have preserved that win streak a little bit longer. But I guess hindi pwede yun on the main roster, especially when you're facing somebody as hot as Jey Uso is right now. Parang hindi ko ma-imagine yung King and Queen of the Ring PLE without Jey Uso, pero parang kaya ko naman imagine without Ilya, diba? So at the end of the day, it's really just it's a matter of who's more over, and I think si Jey Uso panalo siya sa part na yun.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually mad about the result of this match because, of course, they want to see Ilya versus Gunter. But like I said last week, it's too early for that. And I want to give Ilya versus Gunter the proper build that it deserves. And plus, sa din naisip ko, Jey Uso is a first round pick ng Raw. So, sobrang naman if matatalo siya ng someone who was picked later in the draft in Ilya Dragunov. So, in kayfabe, it made sense that Jey got the better of Ilya Dragunov. And, plus, Jey is at a point where alam na naman natin na si Gunter yung magpa-finals at this point. It's just that Jey Uso is a credible challenger for Gunter na yes, he could take a loss, but his credibility will still be there. So I'm okay with the result. Yung sa mga tao naghihintay ng Gunter vs. Ilya, konting hintay pa. They will give that match to us at some point.
Emil, I'm glad na you actually care about draft position here, because you're the only person aside from Solo Sikoa who is actually still railing about the draft results.
Okay, like, di ba? First pick nila this. First pick nila si Jey Uso So
it's real to Emil. It's real to Emil, man.
Yeah. Let's say what's up to Naisha Vales, who's watching us all the way from Malaysia. Maraming salamat.
Hey.
So I think Nisha is
Hello.
Pinoy, probably in Malaysia for either work or school or whatever. But thank you for joining us, Nisha.
Hello,
Going
Nisha.
back to yung usapan nina, about Ilya and Jey Uso and Gunther, there was a nice little stare down after the match. Gunther stared down Ilya and then looked at Jey Uso kasi sila yung magtatapat next week in the Raw bracket finals. So that was nice. It was a nice little nod to Gunther and Ilya Dragunov's relationship as well. And yung biggest fear ni Raw for Ilya heading off to the main roster is that he would be taking Giovanni Vinci's spot in Imperium. But based on that little stare down, maybe they're actually headed towards a collision course somewhere down the road.
It'd be great if doon nga siya papunta. I can also easily see them doing both things, a la Brian joining the Wyatt family. Diba? Parang ganung angle yung kukunin nila with Ilya joining and then turning on Gunther mid Imperium run and thus leading to Imperium's downfall. I don't necessarily know kung doon nga siya papunta, but it would be nice to see, diba? Because it also allows for people a deeper insight into the history between Ilya and Gunther, especially if hindi ka nanood ng NXT during their runs.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't see Ilya joining Imperium kasi Ilya and Gunter are eternal rivals. It's like Kevin Durant joining Golden State. It's just too big.
Emil, that happened.
Emil,
that actually happened.
No, yun na nga eh.
He
If
did
that
join
happens-
Golden State though.
If that happens, it would be, I don't think if the crowd's perception to it will be good. Kasi Ilya will always be Gunter's rival. I can't see them teaming up.
All right. So we'll take a break. When we come back, pag-usapan natin si Carlito and how he's trying to be cool with the Judgment Day. More of that right after this quick word from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network. All right, so let's get to the Judgment Day and the latest chapter in their story. Aside from Damian Priest turning face, you've got Finn Balor and JD McDonough who have now started tagging together kasi I guess Damian Priest doesn't want to tag with Finn anymore now that he's world champion. So it's Finn and JD who have just become #1 contenders with the help of Carlito, who is the new amigo that Dominic Mysterio is trying to bring into the Judgment Day. So it's kind of funny how itong si Dom has tried to bring in Andrade and now Carlito. And si Priest, he's always the guy who's like, yo, get out. Hindi ka naman part ng crew namin eh.
Yeah, it's funny kasi it's like it's the same R-Truth storyline, only dito may backer siya. Diba? In Dominic Mysterio. Now, if it actually leads to Carlito joining the storyline, is another thing entirely. Nakakatawa lang na dito siya pumunta. He left his old group, which is yung LWO, to join this new group, which is the Judgment Day. So parang hindi niya kaya mag-isa, I guess. Is that what's happening here? Is Carlito just really looking for a new group to feed off of? I don't know.
What a weird mix of guys. You got Latinos and then you got people from Ireland in the same group. You'd never thought a group would compose of people who are of those two countries. Pero
Hindi maghanap tayo ng mga Latino-Irish couple because you make it sound like it's such a rare thing and you completely missed Rhea Ripley.
Oo nga pala. But hindi, wala si Rhea ngayon sa group eh. Even though she is in the group, she's not currently doing anything with Judgment Day because of the injury. Pero babalik kay Carlito.
Yeah.
I don't see Carlito being a member of Judgment Day. This is just a quick storyline, just like with the R-Truth thing. yeah, he's in there, but he's not. He's really not. And they're just telling this story of Dominic, who keeps on bringing people to the judgment, even though Damian wants them to be a tight knit group. Nga. So this is a story that they've been telling. Yun nga, papunta rin to eventually to them kicking out Damian because Damian keeps on denying them or keeps on getting mad at his this crew.
Nakakatuwa to
Oh,
pag ang ending nito is Carlito becomes the leader of the Judgment Day. Kasi if that's where this ends up, it'd be so dumb and so funny at the same time.
Emil, since binanggit mo kanina na, it's pretty interesting how you've got Finn and JD representing the Irish, the Puerto Ricans being represented by Damian and Carlito, and then Dominic Mysterio being Mexican-American. Would you rather have yung ganyang klaseng parang, okay, kind of random, but also maybe sort of intentional with Finn and JD's part, at least? Or something like the League of Nations where they're all from specific countries and ethnicities?
Nah, I'd rather have yung mix ng Judgment Day because mas may diversity pero the diversity is not the point of the group. You know what I mean? It's like the San Antonio Spurs of WWE. Just people from different places coming in together for a purpose.
Gusto ko yung napaka rose colored ng natin, ng memory natin of the League of Nations. Diversity pala yung pinaglalaban nila.
I mean,
Weren't they basically European supremacists? But okay.
Oh, that was the point.
Dude, Alberto Del Rio is not European.
I mean,
that was the point of the
majority
gimmick.
Oo nga pala, nandun pala siya. Whatever supremacy they were fighting for. Basta,
They were a rogues
East na
gallery na kalaban ni Roman Reigns. Nagkataon lang na iba-iba sila ng country of origin. And then
I
they were
think
put
if
together as the league.
yeah, I think if anything, mas maganda na to kaysa dun sa race wars na pinipilit nilang ibalik, diba? Like Latino kami, or Latino din kami, diba? Or black people. Like, I think this is, yes, that exists still. Pero again, yung diversity being there is great, but it's also not the point of the group. Diba? Yung point ng group ng Judgment Day dati is because they wanted to be harbingers of whatever, diba? Same with the Final Testament, diba? That's what they're doing now, and they're also of different origin. So maganda din to for the run of the group in the long run kasi hindi sila nag-rely on that race card.
Yeah. Yun, the Final Testament, magandang binanggit mo yun, Chino. That's another group na iba-iba sila ng race. All right, let's go to this heartwarming moment on Monday Night Raw where right before the Gunther versus Kofi Kingston match, she had Samantha Irvin in the middle of the ring, and she called in legendary ring announcer Lillian Garcia. And, on one hand, it's nice that Lillian Garcia is finally getting her flowers, but on the other, Lillian Garcia, the voice that at least my generation grew up to as the ring announcer of Raw, being called a legend, is another reminder for me to take my maintenance meds. The fact that Lillian's probably closer to the Hall of Fame than I am to my childhood is another reminder of my age. But it's great to see both of them putting each other over and showing a lot of love to one another.
Minsan nakakalimutan ko kung gaano na ako katagal nanonood ng wrestling. Then shit like this happens. Like, oh, right. Masakit na yung tuhod ko. All right. That makes sense. That's a thing that happens now. But no, good job on them bringing back Lillian Garcia. If only for one night, diba? Kasi, I mean, si Stan, sabi niya, he grew up with Lillian. I didn't really do that, but I do recognize her as an important part of a certain portion of my wrestling fandom, diba? Siya yung naging voice. And yes, honestly, people have taken Lillian Garcia for granted, diba? Because yung time ng WWE na yun, it was like she was just there. Dahil wala pang social media masyado nun. But now that we're bringing exposure to ring announcers like Samantha Irvin, like Alicia Taylor, diba? At least ngayon si Lillian Garcia is also getting the recognition that she should have gotten when she was active in the WWE. So kudos to the WWE for bringing her back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a nice moment. Ganun din, when I started watching wrestling, it was Lillian Garcia talaga, who was the main ring announcer alongside Justin Roberts. So kinalikihan ko din si Lillian Garcia, and to see this moment na Samantha Irvin acknowledged Lillian Garcia and also Lillian giving Samantha her flowers. It was a nice moment, and sobrang bonus yung in-announce ni Lillian si Kofi Kingston as he entered the ring for his match against Gunther. So that was a nice bit of moment right there.
Yeah, you love to see it. This is the type of moment I actually want in my wrestling, diba? Where we pay tribute to those who paved the way. Lillian walked so Samantha could run, diba? As some might say. Not yung discourse coming out of WrestleMania 40 where the old heads were like, "Oh, why is this Mark still in the in this job or whatever? She shouldn't be crying. She should be a professional." All that stuff. So, it's nice na at least nag-pivot sa ganitong klaseng vibes yung usapan natin. Yeah, itong si Ager or Iger, dude, you have to correct us. Let us know how to properly pronounce your name. I don't want to mess it up. But he does bring up the tandem of Lillian Garcia and Tony Chimmel. Yun yung exact pairing na kinalakhan ko in the early 2000s.
Yep.
Si Chimmel sa SmackDown, si Lillian sa Raw. So
yeah. Lillian was such a huge part of Monday Night Raw that she even was involved in a storyline. Remember the Viscera story? So they had the Snitsky, I believe it was Snitsky and Viscera and Lillian Garcia storyline. Parang even though it is sort of cringy to look back on it, the fact that the ring announcer was actually part of a story that didn't involve them getting absolutely humiliated was a step forward in my book at least.
Parang naputol yata in the middle yung story na yun, di ba? It didn't really have a clear ending. So I guess she saved face in that regard, di ba?
Yeah. Yes, Glendale and Martin, that was during Viscera's time as the world's largest love machine. Right before they hit the reset on him, put him on ECW and made him Big Daddy V. So RIP to Big Vis, who's no longer with us. Good times. In the mid-2000s. All right, we'll take a break again and then when we return, tawid naman tayo sa AEW kasi maraming ganap kanina sa Dynamite as we get closer to Double or Nothing in a couple of weekends. But first, let's hear from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network. All right, let's cross over to AEW and talk about the latest in the Young Bucks' reign of terror as the EVPs of AEW. So, nung collision, they had a confrontation with their longtime friend and their fellow AEW founding father, Christopher Daniels. And then this week, the Young Bucks faced CD, the Fallen Angel, and Matt Sydal in a tag team match. And then after nilang talunin sina Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels, the Young Bucks fired Christopher Daniels in front of an entire arena. So, I don't know kung tulad to nung nangyari kay Trent Barreta and Chuck Taylor where, they wrote Chuck Taylor out since he was legitimately going to end his in-ring career. I don't know what they're doing here with Christopher Daniels kasi it's a big thing to, suddenly bring Christopher Daniels, who's basically a living legend from the non-WWE side of the industry at this point, to trot him out here and then put him in a moment where sinisante siya ng Young Bucks on TV. So, may nabalita ba kayo about what could be going on behind the scenes here?
Wala naman. I think this is a kayfabe firing. Kasi they are telling the story of the Young Bucks having this reign of terror nga, like you said, and kanina nga I was mad at the Young Bucks, yung character ng Young Bucks kasi you're an EVP of a company and then you're gonna fire your talents relations guy. Isn't that something that will affect the company and possibly lead to its downfall? Because you're firing the guy who is supposed to be, the one where the talents talk to. So yun yung kayfabe feeling ko na galit na galit ako sa Young Bucks kasi they are EVPs yet they're doing everything to harm the company. So also in a way I love this character kasi it pushes the buttons of the people who have this perception of the Young Bucks being as power trippers just because they are EVPs. Even though hindi naman talaga sila ganun, di ba? And TK pretty much is the one who's doing everything there dun sa AEW. So I don't think they are firing CD for real, or maybe CD is just gonna take some time off to heal some injuries. I still think he's still under AEW kasi he's an important part nga of their backstage as the talents relations guy.
A good job on the box for doing this. Sinabi ni Emil na galit ako sa box. That's what they're supposed to do. Supposed to make you angry, diba? As the top heels of the company now. So firing Christopher Daniels, embarrassing him like that, a living legend, diba? The guy with the best moonsault ever, quote unquote. Just getting embarrassed and humiliated like that on TV. Such a big deal for the Bucks, diba? Because not only do they get off on being power trippers and abusers of authority, it also makes us, the watcher, hate them even more. Diba? Kung didoble nila yung kukupala nila, and I'm pretty sure this isn't the last straw. Diba? This is just the beginning of whatever arc they're on, this villain arc that they're on. And I'm pretty sure pagdating ng Anarchy in the Arena, lalabas ulit yung kakupalan na yan. So it's far from over for them, and they just keep amping up their assholeness as the weeks go by. So kudos to them for really stepping up and being the top heels right now dito sa AEW.
Yeah, I don't know what the end game here is na ano yun, marireinstate si Christopher Daniels kapag napatumba na tong Young Bucks, tong Elite, because I don't think na matatapos agad-agad tong Reign of Terror nila. Like, fast forward to Anarchy in the Arena, I highly doubt na matatalo dito yung Elite because they have to really go on a long Reign of Terror for us to feel, di ba, na sila yung pinakakupal sa AEW. But that being said, the longer this lasts, the more a storyline like this also feels like it supersedes yung World Heavyweight Championship storyline. And I'm not sure kung napag-usapan natin to last week. Siguro parang pahapyaw lang. But Chino, I want to start with you kasi we haven't had you on the live stream for a while. Ano yung feeling na, Swerve na matagal ng bata ng madlang people finally becomes world champion, and yet yung story niya isn't even the number one story kasi all everyone's talking about is tangina, ang kupal ng EVPs, ang kupal ng Young Bucks, finire nila si Christopher Daniels.
I think the Anarchy in the Arena match, let's start with that first, it's just a stopgap for the Young Bucks. And sooner or later, iikot na nila yung attention nila kay Swerve. Because if you guys remember, si Bucks ang pumili kay Christian, di ba? He was a hand-picked
EVP approved.
opponent.
That's right.
Diba? EVP approved challenger for Swerve. Diba? So what's to say that they stop at Christian Cage? Diba? Or diba? What's to say na hindi nila ibalik yung attention nila kay Swerve? Diba? If they want total control of the company, syempre kailangan kontrolado na nila yung champion nila. Diba? And at this point, si Swerve, while he's dealing with what's left of the Mogul Embassy, diba? He's also still the top face of the company right now. And the top face, sooner or later, has to meet with the top heel of the company. Diba? Doon papunta yan. Diba? And while now it doesn't look like that, I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, if they do their storytelling right, that's where it's all gonna end up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same thoughts here. Ngayon kasi sobrang bago pa lang itong unit ng The Elite. This new iteration of the Elite, the four of them. So they will establish them first as this dominant unit na hey, we control everything, we control AEW, and then darating doon sa point na the two paths will cross and will cross each other, and yun na, like they will do everything in their power to beat Swerve for the world title, and then doon na ikot yun. Like you still got guys who are still out who is inaabangan natin na bumalik. Guys like Hangman, Kenny, MJF. So madami pang parts ng story na to na it's, I think, too early to judge na why is the world champion not involved in the biggest storyline in the company. So, ano pa, madami pa tayong abangan with the things in AEW.
Naka-mute ka, Stan.
Yes, Stan, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Endgame daw, sabi ni Dr. G, they'll beat up the Elite, then Kenny Omega will reinstate CD and join the good
EVP.
guys in beating the Elite. Yeah, but like, how long is that gonna take? Kasi binalita lang this week na magsa-surgery pa lang itong si Kenny Omega for diverticulitis. So medyo matagal-tagal pa bago siya bumalik, guys.
Or TK.
Surgery.
Pag bumalik si TK, di ba? Pag bumalik
I mean, he doesn't have Darby Allin's healing genes. Hindi naman siya gawa sa adamantium eh.
If end game of all of this is to make Tony Khan a face, I quit, man. Ayoko na.
Hindi ba siya face para sa'yo, Chino, matapos matapos yung i-take yung Meltzer driver na yun?
And after he tried to sell the neck brace on the NFL draft, I guess.
Hindi ba babyface moves yun para sa'yo, Chino? Hindi pa ba kulang pa ba yun?
Ang hirap kasi niya kampehan sa totoo lang. Ang hirap niya kampehan. So if the end of this is, yung end game nito, bulot dulo nito, is just Tony Khan, comes to save the day. Parang, ba't makakampihan yung bilyonaryo, diba? And that's what's essentially going to happen. Diba? Kung ganun nga yung ending nila. Kakampihan mo yung bilyonaryo, kakampihan mo yung boss na hindi marunong maging boss. And I don't know, man. It's just it's a whole different conversation, I guess.
Yeah, no. I get it. You know, far be it from me to tell people na please be sympathetic towards this billionaire. Pero now it makes me want to ask, what's it gonna take for TK to be sympathetic to you? Na ipapako siya sa cruise, na ipipenitensya siya sa harap ng buong Daily's Place?
I mean, run the company better. Jesus Christ. Stop showing public fights. Stop showing backstage fights in public. Yeah, dali-dali lang naman yung gagawin niya. But no, he refuses. He rather go for the clout. So, good job. Siya yung may pera eh. Good job.
All right, speaking of yung mga kaaway ng Elite, Eddie Kingston's been taken out. He got attacked by the Elite at NJPW Resurgence over the weekend. So surprise appearance from the Young Bucks who haven't been seen on New Japan for a certain number of years now. So wala na si Eddie Kingston sa Anarchy in the Arena. Ang pumalit sa kanya, we found out at the very end of Dynamite, was Darby Allin, who came back just 2 months after getting injured. So etong taong to nabundol ng bus, okay? He had a broken ass foot. And 2 months later, ito na, ready na siya mag-wrestling ulit. Like they said na mga 1 year siyang mawawala. Di siya makakapag Mount Everest at lahat-lahat. Somebody tweeted na, saan ba ito nagpagaling? Sa ospital ng GTA?
The dude is immortal. That's all I'll say. He's fucking Wolverine. He's Deadpool. He's all these people. Kasi, paano siya bumalik from a car accident, essentially. So,
yeah.
Then,
Sobrang wild. Wild ang nangyari dito kay Darby Allin. Like, I don't know how healthy he is. Like, you have to ask yourself that. Like, legit ba? Healthy na ba siya talaga? Because if this guy is gonna enter a really wild setting like Anarchy in the Arena, tapos hindi pa pala siya 100%, given na 2 months pa lang naman yung lumilipas since yung aksidente niya, pucha. Isn't this asking for trouble?
It is. Like, yung knowledge ko sa broken foot injuries, like, matagal yung recovery niya. Like, seeing NBA players suffer broken foot. Like, sometimes career ending pa nga yun. But this guy comes back after 2 months and he was doing bumps. He was going at it earlier. Like, how the fuck did this guy get in shape in time for Anarchy in the Arena? But I think hindi pa siya 100%. But the Anarchy in the Arena is a match na you can hide injuries like that kasi multi-man match naman siya. So I think he's gonna be there, but he's not gonna do as much as we expect from a typical Darby Allin match.
Yeah,
so tatalon lang siya from a high place once lang.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's probably what he's there for, diba? To do some stupid stunt, diba? Like do a
Hindi siya tatalon sa
spot.
glass ngayon kasi mild lang eh.
So do something. Mali mo, tumalon siya from the rafters into 10 panes of glass, diba? Sana wag. Please, sana wag.
5 panes lang. Kasi nga, mild lang eh.
Diba? Sana, malay natin. Basta feeling ko yun naman talaga role niya dyan eh. Diba?
Oh,
So
to,
they're
sabi
gonna be
Glendale,
stuck.
mababangga lang siya ng golf cart. Mild lang naman yun eh.
Yeah,
Uh,
you know,
Okay, I just
he's
want to make it clear for people who are listening, ah. We're laughing now. Tawa-tawa tayo, joke-joke tayo. Pero pucha, underneath the joking, legit concerned kami para
yeah,
sa taong to, okay? Kasi hindi
exactly.
biro yung mabundol ka ng bus, tapos yung prognosis para sa'yo eh, 1 year kang on the injured list. Di
yeah,
biro yun, ah.
he was supposed to climb Mount Everest, diba? That's what he wanted to
Yeah.
do, diba? And then nasagasaan siya ng bus. So I don't know. I mean, Darby siguro knows his body better than we do, obviously. So
Or baka gawa siya sa adamantium.
maybe.
Diba? Okay, then again, we said what we said. We're not in the room where it happens. Di natin alam ano talaga yung situation with Darby Allin and his health and all of that. Hindi tayo mga doktor niya. Si Emilio, assignment niya, kontakin yung doktor ni MJF. Di pa niya ginagawa. Diba? So, di natin alam kung ano yung, baka naman hindi naman sobrang grabe yung injury dito kay Darby Allin. Or maybe, somebody leaked na sobrang lala ng injury ni Darby so that when he comes back, it will be such a shock na pag-uusapan natin like this. Diba? Galawang wrestling. Di natin alam.
Yeah. He's got the John Cena healing powers. Yes.
Yeah, I guess. No, dude, Cena was out for 6 months when he tore his pec or whatever it was. Noong 2008, tapos nagulat tayo, diba? Oh, Royal Rumble, John Cena number 30. He was still out for half a year. Ito pucha, 2 months lang eh.
Yeah. Yeah. So, nakagulat talaga na he was we weren't expecting him to be that fourth guy, but here we are now.
Here we are. All right, crossing over to NXT. We've got a new champion in Tony D who has won the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. So napanalunan niya from Charlie Dempsey. It's kind of weird the last few weeks para dito kay Charlie Dempsey and the NQCC. So Drew Gulak, diba, hindi na i-renew yung contract niya. He got taken out of TV. And then after that, there's this new story where pinaligpit ni na Charlie Dempsey itong si Drew Gulak through the D'Angelo family, tapos hindi pala nagbayad si Charlie Dempsey. Hindi siya tulad ni Adriana Rizzo na meron dalang sobre na puno ng pera at any given moment. So it all led to this where kinidnap sina Miles Bourne and Damon Kemp para kala may sa salvage pero buhay pa pala. And then they came out for the save right in the nick of time, but it wasn't enough because Tony D'Angelo got the best of Charlie Dempsey. So now he's NXT Heritage Cup champion.
I really like this. Go, Emil. Sorry. Go.
This is very random because the Heritage Cup Championship, ever since yung bumalik siya on TV, is always prided as this technician championship, the technical wrestlers. So this is the first time na someone outside from that won the NXT Heritage Cup champion. So
from what, Emil? From the mold of a technical wrestler or from the NXT
from
UK
NXT UK. Oh, yung UK NXT UK brand or branding, you know. So
okay.
I'm very kasi before the match they were mentioning this na this is something that Tony D'Angelo doesn't really have any experience going through an Heritage Cup match, but you know he won at the end. So I'm very interested now as to what the championship will be under the D'Angelo family. So this was a very exciting win, and when he won, nagulat din ako. Wow, he's a champion. I was expecting Charlie to retain because kaka-champion lang din ni Charlie like a month ago, so 2 months ago. So very surprising news, and I welcome the change.
Was this Dempsey's first defense as champion? Parang
no naman. NQCC has been defending it like with Freebird rules or with catch rules as they call it.
Tama. Okay, I forgot about the Freebird rule. But I like this change. Okay, it's with the Heritage Cup because when tama si Emil, nung pumasok tong Heritage Cup ito, it was this Smarky insider thing. Na parang, it's kailangan nanood ka ng NXT UK para mag-gets mo siya. Diba? It has that sort of appeal and aura, which I get. It has its own sort of market. But kasi now, where they're trying to incorporate everything in the general mythos and the air of the WWE, I like how they're using something that is so revered as the Heritage Cup and incorporating it into, sabihin na natin, silly storylines with the D'Angelo family. Diba? Like character storylines, yun na lang, with people like the D'Angelo family and Tony D. Kasi hindi, tama naman din na hindi natin in-expect. Ako personally, and Emil, did not expect Tony D'Angelo to be walking away with the cup. But now that it's there, now that it's part of that canon, diba, it'll be interesting to see kung ano pang mangyayari dito sa Heritage Cup. It's also a good consolation prize considering a few PLEs ago, si Tony D failed to capture the NXT UK Championship from NXT Championship rather, sorry, from Ilya Dragunov. So at least now he gets his own title. He also gets to defend it, diba? And he also gets to showcase what else he can do as a champion. Diba? Si Tony D is also a collegiate athlete, if I'm not mistaken. So
That's right,
it's
amateur
another one.
wrestler. So technical
That's,
wrestler din si Tony D'Angelo because he
yeah,
is a
diba?
former amateur wrestler.
Okay.
We don't see it as often kasi nga he's this mafioso character, but he is
Yes.
actually a former amateur wrestler. He has that background. So maganda nitong showcase for him in the future. So again, only good things I can see from him winning the Heritage Cup.
I think yung bigger takeaway lang dito is how new it is for an American to be holding the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. Kasi the previous winners have all been from outside the US. Whether it's Noam Dar, who's Scottish, Tyler Bate, who's British, A-Kid or Axiom, who's Spanish, Charlie Dempsey, who's, I guess, British-American. Ito si Charlie Dempsey, diba? American by citizenship. Kasi pinanganak at lumaki na in the US. Diba? So, but like, you know, I hate to use the term, but a real American like Tony D'Angelo finally being NXT Heritage Cup champion is very refreshing to see. So I guess I get where you're coming from dun sa point na yon. All right, we'll stay with NXT after this break, but first let's hear from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network. All right, before we get to this next point, we just have to mention na si Darby Allin does have an active link narratively dito sa Young Bucks, so it does make sense na siya yung replacement. Baka lang may magsabi rin na, oh, look at these haters, once again spewing all this venom at Darby Allin or making fun of his injury or whatever. Na, we do recognize that it does make sense na siya yung pumalit dito kay Eddie Kingston. Moving on, back to NXT. At the very, very end of the show, hindi man na makapag-celebrate na maayos si Tony D'Angelo because the cameras cut to backstage where tumba at lupasay itong sina Wesley, Ivar, and Josh Briggs thanks to Gallus. And Joe Coffey now has a villain mustache, much like Booker T. Wolfgang still looks the same, and Mark Coffey is now semical. So what do you guys think of Gallus being back and reintroducing themselves this way?
Wait a minute. I have a question. Like, when kailan sila nawala sa NXT? And what was the reason?
To be honest, I don't even remember.
Diba? So,
and they lost something, diba? Like, is that if I remember their last match natalo sila. I think it was for the championship, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the comment section can clarify.
Kasi the last time I saw them was they were competing for the tag team titles. So parang right. Surprising na ganito yung like they are back and they're telling na Gallus is back. So parang like matagal ba sila nawala?
So medyo. I mean, look at how different they look. Yung
nga pa.
Ang similar lang para sa akin from the last time we saw them on TV is nagpapakilay na si Joe Coffey. Like, the last time they were on TV, medyo regular yung pagpapakilay niya. So I'm glad to see na that routine has stuck. The eyebrows are still on fleek. Ito, sabi ni Ina, the last feud was with
Yun,
Ridge Holland.
yeah.
That's right.
So it wasn't that long ago, diba? Like I still remember we were talking about the Ridge Holland thing on the pod. So it wasn't that long ago. So nabigla ako na ganun yung treatment sa segment na to na it's like they've been gone for such a long time. But it's a welcome addition. So welcome back to Gallus. I mean, they're always one of the reliable acts on NXT, whether it's Joe being a singles guy or them being a trios or them tagging. So I expect them to go after the tag team titles or maybe Joe Coffey going after Oba Femi because they attacked all of the challengers who went out and challenged Oba for the NXT North American Championship early on the show. So
Well, shit,
very
I hate to
interesting.
spoil it for you, Emil.
What? Yeah,
Well, they
so
already taped yung episode ng NXT for next week, and it does
oh
involve Joe Coffey and the North American Championship picture.
yeah, so that's probably where they're headed at. And Mark and Wolfgang is probably gonna go after the tag team titles once again. So I know. So Gallus is now back, and I know, and they are back in it again. They're going after titles.
Mhm.
I like how you just read the caption, but I also like how they're treating Gallows as a threat, as a menace here, diba? Kasi nung the Ridge Holland storyline kind of ended a little strangely, but at least now they're back and they're treating them proper. They're making them a menace kasi dito sa UK, they were a dangerous stable. Diba? They were
Mhm.
an actual threat. So dito, sa NXT na to, sobrang dami ng tao dito sa NXT, 'di ba? It's easy for Gallows to just disappear in the shuffle here. So I'm glad that they really, when they brought them back and they repackaged them to look this way, to act this way, they immediately drew everybody's attention, 'di ba? Nakita natin agad na, oh my God, Gallows is back, 'di ba? Yes, you really think about it like Emil did. You sit down and think about it. Yes, hindi talaga mahaba yung panahon na nawala sila. But I like how they're hitting the reset button on Gallows here because it's an acknowledgement of wait lang, hindi yata gumana yung first treatment ito. Let's try something else with these guys. And so far, yun lang, it's always room for improvement, diba? Especially with Gallows.
Let's answer Ager's question, who asks, "Where's Lexis King?" Off signing autographs for JC Jane, where he misspells her name as Jackie. So there's that. Still being a cloud chaser, basically.
Yeah.
A nice little side character ngayon sa NXT, itong si Lexis King. Last couple of things we got to talk about for tonight. Let's get on over to, I believe it's TNA. Pag-usapan natin next, tama ba? Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
Impact.
yes, for Impact. So this is huge news if you love your TNA the way that Chino does. And I'm not talking about the TNA from the Jerry Lawler Puppies era. I'm talking about actual TNA wrestling, where Joe Hendry and his theme music organically charted on the UK singles charts. So this is big news, which it made its way to the BBC, which is like the top media outlet in the UK. Malaking balita to kasi yung UK singles chart katumbas siya ng Billboard Hot 100. In fact, it is the equivalent talaga ng Billboard Hot 100 to the point that there are some artists that shoot for the UK singles chart more than the Billboard Hot 100. So for a wrestling theme that lasts all of 1 minute and 30 seconds, however long it is, to make it there, that is as mainstream as TNA has gotten since Broken Matt Hardy from 2015.
Also considering na si Joe Henry was the one who wrote and produced and even sang his own entrance music, diba? So he's an independent musician, diba? Who has a song out essentially that charted and beat Taylor Swift in the UK singles chart. Ganun ka big deal to. When they asked Henry about it, he was surprised himself. Now he knew that there were people in the UK that were using his songs on TikTok as a sort of meme, diba? But never did he expect na aabot siya sa top 4 sa UK singles chart. So, I mean, very surprising on everybody's end. But congrats to Joe Henry.
This is
Yeah,
how...
nagsimula.
Sige, Emil,
Yes.
go ahead.
Hindi, nagsimula to sa TikTok eh. Itong Joe Hendry trend na to, matagal na to actually. I've been seeing this on TikTok for a while. And ito na, mabala tayo dito. And I've been a fan of Joe Hendry for a long time actually. Ever since his days in the UK scene, I remember seeing a video of him parodying yung kanta ng yung Blue. The title is Blue, the old classic, when he was mocking Drew McIntyre. So that was the first exposure I have of this guy. I've been a fan ever since. And hanggang ngayon sa TNA, he still does his parody songs. Para siyang Michael V. Yun, para siyang si Michael V of wrestling. Now he has so many parody songs about all these different guys. The one that he made about AJ Francis, formerly known as Top Dollar in NXT, was such a hit as well. So this guy, if this is their first time seeing or hearing about Joe Hendry, this guy is one of the funniest guys in wrestling. And,
Yeah, super entertaining.
super entertaining. And but you can see his stuff in TNA. It's like sobrang kwela.
Yeah. I've seen Joe Hendry live actually back when he was doing his local hero shtick. I'm not sure kung naabutan mo yun, Emil, yung Joe Hendry local hero, para may music din yun, and he was advertising himself as yung Mang Jose nung suburb niya in the UK, 'di ba? Mang Jose ang superhero na pwede mo arkilahin. Si Joe Hendry yun sa UK Indies back in the 2010s. I caught him live at an ICW event back in 2016 where I saw sina ZSJ, Drew McIntyre, Marty Skrull, etc. So dun pa lang, like I had an idea na okay, this guy's one to watch, but to see him cross over to music, here's how difficult it is to chart sa UK singles chart. There are certain acts na kinalakhan natin na galing sa Britpop scene who haven't hit number 4. So for Joe Hendry to actually make it there through organic means, diba? Just because people found his song meme-worthy or people have been using it on TikTok, that's such a huge deal, especially given na yung trend ngayon ng music is a lot of old music or mga previously released music is cool again because of TikTok. It's no longer about ano yung bago or kaka-release lang. It's really about what goes viral on TikTok. And more often than not, it's this old music na rediscover and someone's like, uy, parang okay itong gamitin sa TikTok ko or sa reel ko ah. And then magva-viral siya. And then yun yung magpapa-chart dun sa kanta. So that's kind of what happened here with Joe Hendry because his theme music has been out for a good year plus.
Kala ng mga bata, bagong banda lang yung All-Time Low. So, I mean,
I just watched All-Time Low a few weeks ago. They were great.
So, ganda ang gandang story nito. Gandang Papa GV.
Yeah, it's definitely a good sign, diba? Tama nga din na yung old music sa TikTok is starting to hit again. So, good for us fans of old music and good for wrestlers and independent artists like Joe Hendry.
Yeah. All right. Last bit here before we call it a podcast. There's some news about Cyberfight wanting to maintain its relationship with the WWE. So, ito kakalabas lang just a few hours ago. Cyberfight is the parent company of Pro Wrestling Noah and DDT. So, yung new president nila, his name is Yasuaki Okamoto. Sabi niya in a press conference na one of their targets is to strengthen their relationship with the WWE, which is huge for him to say in a public forum, diba? Especially given na for decades, itong WWE operated as the lone wrestling company in its own bubble. And then in recent years, I mean, sure, in the 90s, if you remember the Royal Rumbles from the 90s, diba? Vince McMahon was actually cross-promoting with luchadors and with wrestlers from outside the company. And then that just stopped for a very long time. So recently, nung si Triple H na yung nag-take over, ito na. We're seeing the TNA crossover. So Mickey James walks in as Knockouts World Champion. Jordan Grace pops up in the Royal Rumble. Shinsuke Nakamura crosses over to Noah. The Great Muta gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Diba? Shayna Baszler in Bloodsport. Charlie Dempsey in Bloodsport. So it's pretty good. It's pretty cool na you've got this piece of news coming out here. And siguro yung links to just strengthen this, just to add context. Yung Cyberfight, the parent company, may parent company pa yon. It's called Cyber Agent. And it owns the streaming service called Abema. Doon naman umeere yung Raw, SmackDown, and PLEs in Japan for WWE. So meron ng inherent relationship there, I guess, which kind of led to this working relationship with WWE and Cyberfight. This is just me speculating. I only know the bare bones of whatever the relationship is. Obviously, anything else is way above my pay grade.
Well, but yeah, definitely good news kasi, diba, again, there was a time where we didn't see this happening at all. And yet now we got Mickey James as the Knockouts champion appearing, si Jordan Grace as the Knockouts champion appearing. Ang dami nangyayari. Shayna crossing over to Bloodsport, Charlie Dempsey crossing over to Bloodsport. Yung mga sinabi mo, Stan, ever ko in-expect na mangyayari yun, and yet here we are. So it really is a different day and age now in the WWE. So who's to say na hindi mangyari tong crossover na ina-expect ng mga tao, diba? Like, who's to say that we don't get WWE wrestlers taking a trip to Japan or vice versa, diba? It'll be huge, especially for the wrestlers in DDT and Noah, since hindi sila kasing kilala ng mga wrestlers in New Japan right now. So, ako, hindi ko sila masyadong kilala personally, so I think it's huge because it introduces us to a new subset of Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, this is good news for all parties. I mean, this is again a new era for WWE, and they have said na they're open to working with these other companies, and yung mga seeds pa lang yun, yung mga Shayna Baszler who went to Bloodsport, Nakamura going to Noah. So I'd expect more of that to happen in the next few months, next few years. Not on the level of the Forbidden Door na lahat, lahat like sobrang dalas mangyari, but paunti-unti, just to tease to tease the fans and surprise the fans as well. So any working relationship, I'm okay with. I'm good with. That's just better for the wrestling sport overall. So yeah, good news to. It's very good news.
Yeah. I think yung dream match ng lahat, or dream scenario ng lahat rather, knowing na meron palang relationship between WWE and Cyberfight, aka Noah and DDT, is the idea of Yoshihiko being WWE champion and getting that Triple H picture na nakaturo si Triple H sa kanya. I think that's all we want. I just want to call a Yoshihiko match in Tagalog, okay?
That's gonna be awesome.
I mean, never say never, diba?
Yeah, never say never.
I never thought na magko-commentate ako ng Stone Cold match or The Rock match, and yet here we are. So, if those things happened in my lifetime, maybe I could call a Yoshihiko match one day.
Yep, the potential is endless with these working relationships, diba?
Yeah, move over, Rubber Chicken. Yoshihiko's where it's at.
Yoshihiko versus the yung Thanksgiving turkey wrestler.
The gobbledygooker.
Yeah, there we go. Yoshihiko versus the gobbledygooker. Wow.
I think the less said about the gobbledygooker, the better at this point. On that note, that's going to do it for everything that we've talked about here on the podcast. We really appreciate you coming over and hanging out with us, spending some time with us, whether it's on the live stream or dito sa audio-only versions on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get to some plugs on our way out of here. Chino, what's going on in your end of the woods?
Yes, so the Class Clown podcast is fourth season. It's just about wrapping up. I have 2 more episodes coming out. One coming out this Friday with Jeannie Lakay. She is one of our female comedians in Comedy Manila and also one of the proponents for Isinay weaving or traditional weaving from Nueva Vizcaya and the northern part of Luzon. So she talks to me about her business, her side project in Arugahan Wovens, and how she essentially became the new head weaver of the country. So, gandang conversation yan about a different part of the stand-up scene. Also, got a few shows doing a special show this Friday, tomorrow. Ito especially dun sa mga taga north of Luzon. Mga nasa Bulacan, nasa North Caloocan, nasa Fairview, because I'm doing a show in Novaliches, of all places, to help out the people of Little Gaza and, of course, Palestine. We're doing a fundraiser for them. Stand Up Palestine Part 2, headlined by Mr. Leland Lim. I will be there, as well as other comedians. It'll be at Meshwe Restaurant in Novaliches. If you want tickets to that, head to Meshwe Restaurant's Facebook and Instagram pages. And that's where you can catch me.
All right. Ikaw, Emil, what's going on in your end?
Wala naman, just follow the pod and all the social media platforms, and nasa Also subscribe to our Patreon where you could read our reviews of the weekly wrestling shows.
All right.
Also, habol ko lang, manood kayo ng Fuchsia Libre because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
rare. It's rare that we get a local movie that is centered about wrestling, around wrestling. In
Yan,
fact.
yan.
So laking bagay niyan for the scene, for the movie scene, and for the wrestling scene. It's still in theaters out now. I'm gonna try and catch it over the weekend. And sana tumagal pa siya sa sinehan.
Yeah, for about an hour plus, lahat tayo makakapag-fantasize na yung wrestling kayang bumuhay ng tao at ng pamilya dito sa Pilipinas. Okay, for me, I've got some PBA work over the weekend. Nasa radio coverage ako bukas for San Miguel versus Rain or Shine Game 1 of the Philippine Cup semifinals. And then Game 2, nasa Smart live stream naman ako on commentary for the same series, SMB versus Rain or Shine Game 2. So, two teams that I've enjoyed covering this conference or this tournament. It's great na na-assign ako for the same series for these two games over the weekend. So, whether you're catching it on PBA Radio or on the Smart Sports live stream, sana samahan nyo kami. And you can support local basketball the same way that we ask you to support local wrestling. One last plug, DexCon Decada happening on May 26th. That is Sunday. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jake De Leon. I'm calling it biggest match on Philippine soil. It's probably not on the scale of an event like PWR Homecoming was, but ZSJ and Prime JDL in 2024. If you're not catching this show, you better have a damn good valid reason, like tickets being sold out, all right? Or I don't know, like some life and death mishap or whatever, because this is really one of those events that you have to be there for. All right, so magkita-kita tayo sa DexCon Decada May 26. Ito si Babyface producer Jasper nalulungkot, may FOMO na. Di pa nga nangyayari yung event, FOMO na. So,
naubusan siya eh. Sabi niya sa akin kanina.
Yun, pa-smuggle daw sa loob. Jasper, di tayo smuggler. Masama yun. Parang piracy yun eh. Piracy ng tao. Diba? Ano yun? Krimen yun. Ayaw namin makulong. Right. On that note, we got to end this episode of the Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for catching us and making us a part of your weekly wrestling diet. If you can, please leave us a 5-star rating and follow the pod and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper and all of our friends over at the Pod Network for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. And we will catch you next week for weekend reactions, picks of the week, and predictions for King and Queen of the Ring, as well as Double or Nothing. On behalf of our co-hosts Romoran and Rowan ASH, who can't be here tonight, as well as Emil Nate and Chino Liao, ako po si Stan C, saying thank you very much, stay safe, stay healthy and hydrated, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out. Later, Outcasts.